If you are hearing this message, you are listening to the enhanced version of the Jeff Rubin Show. But it doesn't actually mean anything this week because I didn't include any pictures. Too bad for you. We'll be back with more pictures and enhancements next week. But for now, just relax and enjoy the soothing sounds of two Jews talking. All right, here we go. This is the Jeff Rubin Show. This is Jeff Rubin here with Amir Blumenfeld from Jake and Amir and the upcoming Harold and Kumar 3D. Thanks for coming to the show, Amir.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
I say thanks for coming to the show. We are at the office just kind of before work starts.
Yeah, I guess you should thank me for getting here at 9 instead of 10:30.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here early anyway. We have been working together now for 6 years, I think, right?
Over 6 years.
And I think something that a lot of people don't recognize is that you were not hired to actually be in front of the camera. None of us. No one was.
It's true. Yeah, when we started, it was just about who could write the funniest articles. And then we accidentally also were able to act and write sketches.
Yeah, but you did videos even before that. Like, you were kind of always making videos through high school and stuff.
Yes. In elementary school, I was making, like, videos on VHS tapes with, like, a giant VHS camera. And then in college, I started a website, and I was like, I can make videos for the internet. So I tried to, you know what it was? It was me and my roommates were making, my roommate Ofer was making slideshows at first. And then we're like, let's make little videos based on TV theme songs. So, like, this is back when digital cameras didn't even have audio. It was like 15-second clips with no audio. So we would set it to TV theme songs like Mr. Belvedere and Full House, and we would just video record like silly things like, I don't even know, fake blowjobs and like, I can't even fully remember.
The reason I mean, obviously I'm familiar with this history, having worked with you, but the reason I bring it up is because I think people often ask how we got started at College Humor or just how to get started or something. And what always strikes me about your story is that you've pretty much been doing what you're currently doing forever. Like
Right.
you had, by the time you actually started working on it, it seemed like you had a lot of practice already.
Yeah, I feel like you have to do something you want to do for 4 to 7 years for free before anyone will pay you to do it. Because, one, they're going to be terrible at first. You look at our old videos and they're just like embarrassingly awful, but you have to do like 100 to 200 shitty videos before you start making good ones. And even like that's sort of the same thing with Jake and Amir. I watched like the first 4 videos and we're just laughing through it. The audio is terrible. I'd be embarrassed to like put them up today, but like they were necessary to get me to the point where I can make videos that I'm like comfortable showing people.
Right now, you are on an episode of the podcast where it's like, let's just get those shitty ones out of the way for a year so I can start
Exactly.
getting good for it. That's what we're currently living.
Yeah, like in 4 years from now, you'd be like, remember when I just put my friends on the show instead of getting actual guests?
But you with Jake and Amir, like if you look at those early ones, it wasn't like you weren't like, let's start a web series. Like
Right.
what were those?
It was Jake got a camera, and we were like, let's make funny videos. And so like we were already sitting across from each other and joking around in these weird characters all day. So when Jake got a digital camera, we were like, we should shoot funny little videos. So like the first one is like, I'm going to grab the camera and put the camera on you, and you have to pretend to be like a Britney Spears fan at a concert where she doesn't know the words completely. Or Jake would put the camera on me, and he's like, you're someone who notices everybody is leaving for a birthday party that you weren't invited to, so you have to like act cool. And like that was sort of the beginning of everything.
And this is something else I often find myself giving advice on behalf of you and what you did is because they were just shot on like regular Canon PowerShot cameras,
Yeah, that was like a Canon PowerShot SD750.
and edited in whatever came with the computer. It was an iMovie. I remember
yeah.
trying to talk you into moving to something else. I
Yeah.
think it wasn't Final Cut at the time. It was
Like Vegas Video
Yeah.
or Premiere or something.
But now you work on Final Cut.
Yeah.
But something I always tell people is just start doing it. Like when you guys started doing it, you had the I feel like I'm interviewing you because I already know the story. You had the tools to. You had the same.
You
tools.
are interviewing me.
I'm doing both halves of it.
All right.
You guys had the same basic tools that everyone already has access to.
Yeah, and I mean these like the access that people are getting is only getting more and more insane. Like 15-year-olds can get a D like a Canon D7. What's it called? D5.
I don't know.
What do we shoot on? 70s.
70, yeah,
yeah.
70, 70.
So
Those 15-year-olds can't get those. Those are very expensive.
yeah, but like for a bar mitzvah, they can get like pretty much the cameras we use to shoot our full CH originals on, they can get for like a couple $1,000 and start shooting like professional level videos and put them on YouTube in high school. Like,
I mean, I think the cameras that come in an iPod Touch are about as good as the ones you started shooting Jake and Amir on.
that's true. I mean, the new iPhone videos are the new iPhone.
4S.
Yeah, the new iPhone 4S shoots video at a rate that's like so much beyond what we were shooting Jake and Amir's on 3 years ago. Even it's like probably comparable to the HVXs that we shot like 200 episodes on.
So this is something I actually don't know about you. At this point, you've made, I think, something like 1 billion Jake and Amirs.
Yeah, a little under. I think 997 million.
Is the current plan to just make them forever?
I guess so. The one time that I recently thought, I'm like, oh, we're getting slightly too old for this stuff, is like when like we were doing like photo shoots and like I was supposed to like jump on Jake's back and I'm like, I'm 28 years old, like this is getting a little silly. Like I can see gray hairs in my photo. I shouldn't be jumping on Jake's back anymore. So I mean, the series is sort of evolving and the characters are sort of evolving, and we'll probably, before we cut it off completely, go down to like maybe less than 2 a week and then eventually stop making them all together.
I
But
mean, we're going to
don't
run
know.
this thing into the ground.
Yeah, exactly. I always pride myself on like leaving at the apex of something, like getting out at the top, Seinfeld style, and that's not going to happen with Jake.
That's
we're
really
we're
interesting,
gonna go until only 10 to 15 people are watching every episode, and then stop.
Because it seems to me like it has evolved, and because I think you've managed to keep it fresh by like making both characters deeper. Like I'm certainly I don't see an end to it in sight.
Yeah, I mean, I was being kind of sarcastic. We're not really like past our prime, and especially with views, we are. If anything, we're going up. So maybe we haven't reached the apex yet. So I'll still be able to stop when we're at the top.
I guess mathematically speaking, though, there has to be a peak at some point.
Yeah, it'll be the halfway point between when we started and when we stopped, and I'll call that the peak mathematically.
Was that a conscious choice to evolve it, or did you just get bored of it?
Yeah, you get bored, and like whatever our senses of humors are 4 years ago are different. I mean, you see like the stuff that you liked when you were 22. I started making Jake and Amirs when I was 24, and now I'm 28 and a half. So like, and
I like
Jake
that you're
was
counting
21.
the halves. How
Yeah,
old are you?
I'm 416 months. And so your senses of humor change, and like what we find funny changes. Like at first what we found funny was catchphrases and silly things, and now what we find funny are also silly things, and I can't even quantify it.
But the characters have gotten deeper, I think. Like, you kind of know
Yeah.
how one's going to react to something.
Because like at a certain point, Jake just doesn't want to say, wow, okay, leave me alone all day. He wants to like, maybe we should give Jake some insecurities. Maybe we should have Jake be sort of like a novice at style and fashion. Like when girls come into the picture, he starts like sort of acting immature and weird. So we like sprinkle that stuff throughout.
You guys just did that 30-minute special, Fired,
Yes.
which you sold on DVD and on College Humor.
Right.
And YouTube, I want to say.
Yes.
Which
that's
was
true.
awesome. Totally great.
Thank you.
Do you want to do some more stuff like that? If you start doing more stuff like that, I mean, let's say you start doing more like that,
Yeah.
do you think you always have to do the 3-minute things? Is that the main format for Jake and Amir, and this other stuff is kind of side projects?
Yeah, I mean, Fired was the most fun we've had shooting Jake and Amir stuff, just because like it was such a big production, and like we were so proud of the script, and the actors were so funny that like that stuff makes me happier than like shooting 2-minute videos. But we didn't want to like tell our audience, okay, we're gonna not make 2-minute videos for a month while we shoot this secret thing that you guys don't know about yet. So the hard part was keeping the free videos going while shooting and writing Fired. And then once it was in post-production, Mike Shabak sort of took over a lot of that, so that we would continue to be able to edit the shorter videos. So, I mean, the free videos are the ones that are, quote-unquote, our bread and butter. They're the ones that make the most sense for our format. One guy sitting across the desk from another wouldn't work for 28 minutes in a row. But we'd love to, like, evolve it to something longer, like to do another Fired special would be great. Or to maybe even, like, treat Fired as, like, a pilot and make 5 more episodes of that and, like, call it a season of Jake and Amir.
I think something people don't recognize about Jake and Amir is that you guys edit it,
Yes.
which is such a big part of that show.
I try to brag about it as much as possible, so it's weird that people don't know. But yeah, I would, like, the
And
for
you're
the
not a
last-
formally trained editor or anything. You just like started
Yeah.
editing them in iMovie, and now you're editing them in Final Cut, and
Right.
now you're pretty much an editor.
Yeah, I guess after like 400 episodes of Jake and Amir, I am now the world expert in editing these videos, and it's true. Like a lot of it is in post production. Some of these videos get rewritten in editing. Like we won't necessarily know how something ends, so we'll take something from the middle and throw it at the end, as long as it ends on a laugh point, and making sure like a lot of it seems simple, and it is. Like put the frame on the guy who's talking. But then there's little subtle things throughout that sort of make it different.
There's a lot of timing in the back and forth too.
Yeah,
Like
timing
like
is a huge part of it, and like knowing exactly when to like start the video and when to end the video is another thing.
Yeah, even though it's almost very vaudevillian in the back and forth, but you've adapted it into internet video.
Right.
That's cool. I want to go back to something you were saying earlier about how the free ones never stopped. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, the free ones have never stopped in the past 4 or 5 years. I mean, has there been Jake and Amir every single week?
I'd say in the last 4 years, so from October 2007 to October now 2011, we've had 2 videos a week, maybe every week, but 3, like because of Thanksgiving or Christmas falls on a week, so we'll do like a best of or an old special or an old episode for Thanksgiving, but
So lazy.
yeah. But I'd say like out of like 210 weeks, we've had 2 episodes, like at least 205 of them.
Even when you were shooting Harold and Kumar 3D.
Yes.
That was
even when-
incredible to me because I was watching you go back and forth, and the videos just kept coming out into the rest of the world. Everything was normal.
Right, exactly. And even Jake's sort of spending some time in LA now, and like people have no idea if they don't read his like Twitter or blog that like Jake doesn't actually live in the same city as me anymore. He comes back and we shoot 8 episodes over the course of 2 or 3 days, and we just roll it out over the course of a month. And yeah, movie magic.
People who do follow Jake's Twitter know, though, because all he tweets about, really almost all he tweets about is parking spaces
yeah,
he gets
exactly.
in LA.
He's really proud of his parking jobs.
He's quite good. I mean, from what I can tell, he's excellent.
A lot of it is getting the perfect spot, and he's always there.
How did you manage that going back and forth with the movie?
I mean, it's the same way that we're doing now. We just write 2 or 3 when we're apart and shoot them all together when we come back. The movie schedule was very off and on, so like I'd be in Detroit for 10 days, then I'd come back for a week, then I'd go to Detroit for 2 weeks, then I'd come back for a week.
Let's talk about that movie, because I'm actually a little unclear. How did you actually end up in this movie?
That's a good question. I mean, I found out about the audition through my manager, and then I was like, oh, my buddy Todd is directing this movie, so like let me ask him about it. And so I asked Todd, I'm like, I'm auditioning for the role of one of these like main characters. He's like, oh yeah, you totally should. I'm like, all right, I mean, I'll audition, but that doesn't mean that I'll get the part, because like they want famous people in it. So I auditioned, and I guess I did fine. It was just me in front of a camera reading lines, whatever an audition is. And then Todd's like, how did it go? I'm like, I don't know, I guess it went fine. But what I didn't know is, I guess, that when I was on tape, like Todd was championing my cause in like the production company world. Like I guess they were considering 4 or 5 actors for the role of Adrian that I was playing, and I guess it's always like a combination of luck and skill. Like I was good enough in the audition to like be considered, and then the luck of knowing the director being like, we should get this guy, look at the videos that he's done, I've directed him in this video, he has like a huge online following. He would like, I remember before I got the role, he'd like email me like, how many people watch Jake and Amir videos? I'm like, I don't know, maybe 500,000. He's like, great, bye. So I guess he was fighting, and it came down to a couple people. I don't know who they are, but I ended up getting the role.
And it is a pretty, I haven't seen the movie yet, but it is a pretty big part, as I understand it. You're Kumar's new friend.
Right. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous that I got this job. Let's not kid ourselves. The hope now is that I didn't embarrass myself, and like, because like I was doing this job not only for my career, but like Todd really like went out on a ledge to get me the role, so like I didn't want to make him look bad either.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, whatever. Who
Harold
cares?
Harold and Kumar movies are critic-proof anyway. Were you familiar with the series? Did you know the first?
I'd seen the first, and I was gonna watch the second one on the airplane to Detroit from Los Angeles, and I was sitting right in front of John Cho, who plays Harold. So I'm like, oh god, I can't like watch these movies right in front of him because he was sitting one seat directly behind me. So I felt like so dumb to like prop up my laptop and like start watching Harold and Kumar 2 in front of him. So I actually hadn't seen number 2 until like after we started shooting.
This is something Pat wanted me to ask you. What is the difference between? Is there a difference between acting for internet comedy sketch videos and acting in a movie, in a big Hollywood movie?
Like me acting or like the scope of the project?
I mean, just for you, like as an actor, is it different?
I mean, that's a good question.
There's Pat's. I gotta get.
God damn it, Castles. There probably is, though. I was trying to like mentally put myself in a position where I was acting for an internet video the entire time, so that I wouldn't get freaked out by the fact that like I was sitting next to Cal Penn and acting in front of a 3D camera and 80 people were milling about, and the project was, was budgeted for tens of millions of dollars more than I've ever experienced before. So I was trying to like treat it as though I was making a College Humor video and acting as though it was a College Humor video, though maybe there are little things that I was doing subconsciously that was different.
It seems like you might have a lot of experience with that because when we're shooting here, there's always people around, and obviously it's different, but you have to just be present in the actual video you're shooting, even though we're shooting in a live office.
Yeah, it's true. There is I do like shooting when there are not a lot of people around. I hate like yelling and acting like an idiot when they're like all my coworkers are just around me working silently. There's like a level of anxiety it's associated with that. But that's
even still?
Yeah, even still. Because like I know like you're in a room full of comedy writers, so like if I'm saying jokes that aren't funny, the silence is deafening. Like, oh god, what am I doing?
But I think no one's just paying attention, because we've seen so many of them now where I'm just like, oh, here they go again. I just put my headphones on.
More milkshake coming out of khaki pants.
I do think the most fun, the most exciting thing for me watching Jake and Amir, because they're being shot away from me, is when I see one being shot. It's never not funny when it's being shot, but then I watch it as a video and it's even funnier.
Yeah, because when we're shooting it, it's just like you're saying the same lines over and over, and like you're not doing the timing right, and like sometimes it could take 4 to 5 minutes to shoot, like to run through it, and then that's sort of the magic of editing, is making it super tight and as funny as possible.
So what can I expect in Harold and Kumar 3?
It's a very silly movie. It's very fast and short. It's like 85 minutes long, and it like starts right away, and it's incredibly silly, and Santa Claus is in it, and he gets shot, and there's claymation, and there's Neil Patrick Harris, and there's the whole thing is shot in 3D, which is like a whole different. I think this is the first big 3D comedy. Maybe Jackass.
Yeah, but that's
Jackass is sort of reality.
Yeah, Jackass is his own thing.
Live action 3D comedy.
Yeah, maybe.
Because what other movie? Yeah, you don't see like
Tower
Horrible Bosses
Heist in 3D. Or
yeah.
Horrible, yeah.
Bridesmaids or Horrible Bosses or any of the big comedies recently have not been in 3D.
What was it like shooting in 3D?
It was difficult. I mean, I have no frame of reference. Like, I don't know what shooting in 2D is like, but from what I understand, the unique part about it was it took a lot longer to set up every shot. So, because like you're not only setting it up to look good in one plane, but like you have to like, okay, now let's calibrate every single distance and make sure that, because we shot it in 3D rather than doing it in post, so
which makes a big difference.
Yeah, supposedly like there were two guys. There was like a 3D video village, and there were two guys constantly watching every frame with 3D glasses to make sure everything was like calibrated correctly.
Watching it live.
Yeah, watching it live.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
That's almost better than actually than stepping outside the video tent and watching it live.
Yeah, it'd be like when someone else is shooting, I'd like grab the 3D glasses. I'd be like, wow, this is crazy. It's really cool looking, at least, and the DP was so meticulous, but it takes so long to set up the shots, and then the camera itself is like two giant cameras, one facing down and one facing at you. That's so big that the actor that you're acting against can't be in the frame with you. So like, if I'm talking to Kumar's character, or Cal's character, Kumar, and instead of looking at him, they put a green piece of tape on the giant contraption and have Cal in the, like, 4 feet over talking to me. So I'd hear his voice from the right and talk to a piece of tape on a camera looking at me. So it was really difficult to, like, for me at least, get into like this. I'm used to staring at the person that I'm acting against, and I don't think that's a strange or unique thing, but for this huge camera that it didn't even allow for that. So I was talking to an inanimate object, like yelling at him and being passionate and trying to have like scenes with, a piece of tape, which was difficult.
Do you smoke pot in the movie?
No.
Does everyone, like your character, is he just not involved in that side of the film? Because I'm assuming there's pot in the movie.
I think like I was supposed to make character decisions and I didn't. I was probably supposed to be high or something. And I mean, Kumar smokes pot, but it's like fake pot,
Mm-hmm.
But
It'd be hard to make a movie if you were really high.
I remember like reading an interview, like it's not like you see them smoke once or twice in the first movie and maybe once or twice in the second, but it's not like Cheech and Chong where they're like constantly actually smoking. It's sort of like they smoke in the beginning and now they're high for the rest of it. But in terms of this one, I mean, there's like some smoking and there's like more cocaine in this movie, I want to say, than like, because it's all about like they go to a teenager's party and they feel old for the first time. They're like, what the hell? These kids are doing like cocaine, and it's a bunch of like college and high school kids. And then cocaine gets blown up everywhere, and you gotta see the movie.
Now I hear you guys like to play pranks on the set. It seems like you don't have your shirt on for a lot of the movie.
Yeah, it's true. I'm very front-loaded in the script. Like, the movie is about Adrian, my character, and Kumar being friends, and Harold and Todd, which is Tom Lennon's character, they're friends, and then we sort of find ourselves at the same party around the halfway point when shit goes down. And then for the second half of the movie, I'm in a closet with Tom Lennon, and I'm just wearing tighty whities, and Harold and Kumar have gone on their adventure. So like in the first half of the movie, I'm in it a good amount, and then in the second half of the movie, it's what the audience wants to see, which is Harold and Kumar going on a wild adventure together.
And me in my underwear.
And me in my underwear with Tom Lennon.
Did it make it harder that you were, in your underwear?
At first, yeah, because it's like, yeah, I'll be in my underwear, whatever. I don't care. Like, I'm a normal-looking, skinny guy. There's not I don't have like a weird rash or hairs on my body in places that I'm embarrassed about. But then they're like, all right, get into your tighty whities and put on this robe. So like, put on a robe, walk into my the set, and there was like 40, 50 people around, extras, teenagers, like producers, everybody.
What's that moment like when you shed the robe?
Yeah, exactly. Like, all right, now take off the robe. I'm like, oh god, this is kind of uncomfortable. So I was like, take off the robe like very hesitantly and like stand like, with my arms crossed in front of my crotch, even though that part was already covered. And people were making jokes, obviously, but I think they were doing it in a way to like try to make me feel comfortable, or at least that's what I tell myself, so that I didn't start crying in front of everyone.
Something else you actually got to do, acting-wise, recently, was you were on an episode of Louie, which is pretty cool because it's maybe the best show ever.
It's really popular amongst people I respect, and really unpopular amongst everybody else.
Yeah, I remember after that episode, the night after the episode aired, you told me that your parents had watched it and they were like, "What was that?"
Yeah, exactly.
Which, as soon
Even
as
some of my friends were like, "Okay, I just watched your scene and I'm turning it off. This show's depressing as shit."
Yeah, which as soon as you said it, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a tough one." Because the episode you were on, and I love every episode of the show, but it was the one. I think the first half of it was the Halloween thing, where it was like a horror movie, and that's what I love about the show is how you never know what you're gonna get with it, and it's always unpredictable. But I can imagine if you're like, I'm on this hot new comedy, and like people tune in expecting to laugh. Just
check it out, guys. Okay, the first 10 minutes is Louis about to piss his pants, and his little girl's in the threat of danger for 8 minutes. And then I'm in a boardroom scene where we're pitching joke ideas. So it's like, if you're not used to the show at all, it's ridiculous.
But so it's not for everyone, but
No.
It's an incredible show.
Yeah, and I got emails from like Pete Holmes and like comedians that I respect, be like, "Oh, you were great in Louie," and like that's the best part about being in a show like Louie is that everybody that you love watches the show and saw you in it.
I was really excited because I was like, was that guy Niles from Murphy Brown?
You know what? He was.
And
I saw that guy in an episode of Curb a couple months later.
Yeah.
He's making the rounds.
Yeah, which was really big for me. What was it like shooting Louie?
Shooting Louie was a much smaller production. It was just a day of shooting, and I was just basically like treating it as though I was a fly on the wall in a scene of Louis that I wasn't in. So I was just like, I'm just gonna watch Louis C.K. and like how much he dominates this show, because not only does he direct it, which is like something I can barely do for like Jake and Amir videos that I've done 400 of, but he's like borderline DPing it, which is like really, really difficult. Like he knows about which
It's
lenses to
technical, yeah.
use and like which lightings to use. He's also going home and editing it all by himself, like a full TV show. He's editing it, and he's also written every episode by himself. So it's like an obscene amount of control, like the kind like I don't even see in internet world, and he's doing it for TV. So like it was so awesome watching him like, all right, I'm gonna stand here, and then he calls action, and then he acts, and then he calls cut, and then he walks over to the camera, and then he looks at it and says, okay, can you like not give me that specific reaction? Can you like, you're not enjoying this at all, you're more nervous, you over here, you're sort of laughing throughout. Let's change this light over here. The DP, his friend is a DP, so he's like, I'm getting some reflection on this poster in the background. He's like, just leave it, nobody cares, let's just shoot another one. Cut, action, shoots another one, and like just completely takes over every aspect of production.
How did you end up there? Was that auditioning too?
Yeah, that was auditioning too.
Are you gonna keep auditioning? Are you currently auditioning for more things?
I go on like maybe one every other month,
Which is
so-
not a lot for an actor.
No,
They've got this
actors are
small
supposed
Jake
to
and
go
Amir
on-
thing going on.
Yeah, actors are supposed to probably go on like 2 to 10 a week, and you know, but I have a full-time job, and so I sort of treat it as my opportunity to be like more discerning. Like if a role comes up that I wouldn't be happy to get, then I try not to audition for it.
What a luxury.
Yeah, it is a luxury. It's true. I've been fortunate to like get one or two things like Louis and like the movie, where if I audition for like 7 or 8 stuff, I'm not supposed to get anything yet.
Do you ever worry about getting typecast as Amir?
I wouldn't mind that. It's pretty much the only thing I can act as. Like,
No, well, you were. Sam just looked in. It's so obvious, like, as soon as someone looks in, what's going on. Like, I'm wearing headphones. We're both talking to mics. I've, like, propped up a little studio.
we're playing Battleship.
You guys are doing a podcast.
Yeah, a little bit. And, Ben's looking now, too. Oh, God.
The time is nigh.
We got to shut this thing down. But you were,
Shooing panda bears out.
I haven't seen Harold and Kumar yet, but what you did on Louis was very different.
Not really. I mean, what I did on Louis was what I was able to do, which was playing a young, nervous writer. That was actually my character's name, which is great because I was extremely young, nervous, and writerly in the room anyway. And I guess my range is nervous guy to like idiot, but I can't like really do anything beyond that anyway. Like I'm not gonna play a cool guy or a confident or like a frat guy really.
I feel like I've seen you do different things in College Humor originals, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe not.
I've already typecasted myself.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think you're always, even as you audition these other things, I can't imagine you, because of all the random internet projects you've had since even before I knew you, it's hard to imagine you not doing random internet stuff.
Oh, you mean like in the future?
Yeah.
Like becoming a TV actor or a movie actor?
Yeah, let's say you're still doing Jake and Amir and you're doing movies and all that thing. It's just hard to imagine you seem like you're really good on the internet.
Right, yeah. It's true. I mean, that's my expertise. I've been doing it for 5 years now. But maybe in 15 years, I'll have done TV and movie stuff for 5 years, and that'll be my new expertise. I don't know. Who knows?
No one really knows because so few people have done what you're doing on the internet successfully for 5 years. There's not a lot of precedent, so it's going to be really exciting to find out. Thank you so much for doing the show, Amir. Where can I see more of this Jake and Amir thing I keep hearing about?
Well, basically, if you go to jakeandamir.com, you can watch all of our videos.
And Jake and Amir Fired, the special, is on where?
It's on College Humor. collegehumor.com/jakeandamir fired.
But it's also available on Break It Down For Me.
It's available on YouTube. It's available on Facebook. It's available at College Humor. And it's available on DVD from Busted Tees.
I know I'm biased, but well worth the money. It's way more than just, 10 3-minute episodes strung together. It really is something different. And when is the movie coming out?
November 4th. Friday, November 4th. And maybe it's already November 4th if
Yeah.
you're listening to this.
Thanks so much for doing the show, Amir.
Alright, that's it for this week's show, but there are new episodes of the Jeff Rubin Show every Tuesday, and just sometimes a little more often than that. For instance, last week on Thursday, in case you missed it, I released an emergency podcast to address the pressing issue of Arkham City being one of the greatest video games of all time. I talked to Kumail, who did the holiday video game preview episode with me over the summer, and we just kind of caught up on some of the games we were excited about to see if they actually lived up to our expectations, like Arkham and Gears of War and Uncharted and the Eco re-release. So if you missed it, check that out. Now we're on the... So if you missed it, check that out. You will know when new episodes of the Jeff Rubin Show are up. The day they are up, you won't have to do any catching up if you follow me on Twitter at Jeff Rubin Show, on my blog at jeffrubin.com, and if you're on Tumblr, go ahead and follow that, and my Facebook fan page, and youtube.com/JeffRubin. That is it for this week's show. We'll see you guys next week. Bye!